I swear, the older I get, the less I think anything in suburbia can actually shock me. And then something happens that makes me question my own sanity for ever believing that. Like the time my HOA president, Karen Miller, picked my front door lock at 5 o'clock in the morning, waltzed right into my living room, and started snapping emergency inspection photos while I was still in my bathrobe. Not even a horror movie could have prepared me for the sound of my wife, Nicole, screaming that morning loud enough to wake up not just me, but probably half the neighborhood and any ghosts still lurking in the attic. You ever have one of those mornings where your only plan is a cup of coffee and a quiet start, but instead you're sprinting down the stairs with your heart pounding and your judge's badge clutched in one hand? Yeah, that happened. Picture me retired, federal judge, plaid bathrobe, flapping, running straight into the living embodiment of the HOA. Karen, 45, always strutting around like she ruled a kingdom of beige, was right there in the center of my house phone, out taking pictures of what, our dust bunnies, couch cushions, maybe the audacity of us daring to exist in her HOA's territory before sunrise. Nicole's pressed up against the far wall, looking like she's seen a ghost. Bartholomew, our golden retriever, is hiding behind her, whimpering. And Karen, she's standing there in her tracksuit like she owns the place, eyes glittering with that special brand of suburban righteousness. Emergency inspection. Judge, she says, voice dripping with mock sweetness. Bylaw 7 subsection C, threat to community aesthetics. Got a report at 5 a.m. from Who the Raccoons. You picked my lock, Karen, I snap, feeling the judicial anger kick in, badge out. That's breaking and entering. I honestly thought she'd flinch, maybe realize she'd crossed a line a little too brightly lit, but she just smirks, pushes past me, and starts taking more pictures of my dog, for crying out loud. Over the weight limit for pets, she sniffs, snapping a flash right in Bartholomew's sad, anxious face. That was it. That was the moment the old grandpa instinct kicked in, and the federal judge in me kind of took a back seat. Nobody fat shames my dog. Karen, I say in that calm voice that usually means the other person should be running, you've got 3 seconds to leave or I remove you myself. Her response. She swings her clipboard at my face. Heavy-duty plastic, not that cardboard nonsense, and nails me right on the lip. Next thing I know, she's pepper spraying my dog. Absolute mayhem. It wasn't a graceful takedown. I basically tackled her like a lumbering bear in a bathrobe. Nicole's on the phone with 911. Bartholomew's sneezing his head off, and I'm pinning Karen to the carpet reading her Miranda rights like I'm in an episode of Law and Order. Local police show up, then the U.S. Marshals. Yeah, I called them too. Karen's hauled off in cuffs, still ranting about bylaws, looking at me like I'm the villain in her story. I really thought that'd be the end. Arrested, facing actual charges, surely that'd put a lid on the madness, right? Oh, buddy, you sweet summer child. Harmony Creek Estates was supposed to be peaceful, a place to read on the porch and bake bread and let the grandkids run wild in Nicole's garden. Instead, what we got was an HOA president who made up rules on the spot and enforced them with the fervor of a medieval queen. Our first real run-in with Karen was over the color of our front door. Painted it a lovely colonial blue, got a notice demanding we revert to an accepted palette or face daily fines. Depressing taupe was apparently the color of choice. Nicole, sweet as she is, just wanted to avoid trouble, but I told her no way. Bullies count on folks wanting to avoid trouble. And Karen was a bully, the worst kind. Small town, small power, big chip on her shoulder. She fined old Mr. Henderson for a bird feeder, Mrs. Rodriguez for wind chimes, and anyone who dared step out of line with a little color or a little joy. The woman thrived on control. What happened that morning didn't stop at our front door. That night, literally hours after she got arrested, someone in a hoodie keyed my car, poured bleach all over Nicole's carefully tended lawn, and stuffed a baggie of pills in our mailbox. Security cams caught everything. It was Karen's son, Mikey, her not-so-lovely accomplice, caught on tape, skulking around like a raccoon with an attitude. Nicole's trembling, wondering what we've gotten ourselves into, and honestly, for a moment, so was I. But then that old judge's resolve settles in. Enough is enough. I call the marshals, hand over the footage, and pretty soon our sleepy little street is swarming with blue lights and K9 units. The raid on Karen's house at 2 a.m. is the stuff of legend, battering ram flashbangs, the whole 9 yards. Mikey Folds instantly admits everything. Karen. She bites a deputy. No joke. Arthur Jenkins, the HOA treasurer, is caught trying to shred years of financial records showing nearly $100,000 funneled from the HOA into a mysterious KM Enterprises. My cousin Ronald, conspiracy theorist and expert in odd energy fields, helps me track it down to Karen's estranged sister Mildred, who apparently runs a pickle business as a front for laundering the cash. Turns out Karen wasn't just enforcing ridiculous rules for fun. She was funding her family's side hustle with HOA dues, lining her pockets while everyone else painted their doors beige and prayed she wouldn't notice their grass was a quarter-inch too long. Ronald's proudest moment is linking the whole thing to Mildred's pickle company. I knew it was the lizard people, or picklesy crows, and he's not entirely wrong this time. The real twist, though, comes from Arthur Jenkins, the mousy treasurer nobody ever noticed. Turns out he'd been secretly recording conversations with Karen, stashing a digital recorder in a hollowed-out book. And on those tapes, Karen, in her own words, gloating about framing me for drugs, orchestrating the whole campaign, and here's the kicker, admitting it was personal. Her late husband, Henry, was the CEO I'd sentenced in a white-collar case years back. She blamed me for his downfall, and everything she did, from the break-in to the fraud to the pepper spray, was her twisted version of revenge. When those tapes played in court, the silence was so thick you could cut it. The judge didn't hold back, called Karen's actions an assault on the very idea of justice. She got years in prison, Mikey landed in a young offender program, and Mildred's pickle empire was brined for good restitution and all. The civil case went even further. The jury awarded us $400,000 in damages. For the first time in ages, Harmony Creek felt lighter, like a cloud had lifted. Neighbors smiled again, planted flowers in colors other than beige, and even Mr. Henderson's garish bird feeder was back in action. But did we really win? That's the question that still nags at me sometimes. Sure, Karen's in prison, Mikey's out of our hair, and Mildred's pickles aren't flying off the shelves anymore. Our lawn is green, our door is blue, and Nicole's garden is blooming again. We gave a chunk of the settlement to a local charity, felt right, turning something ugly into a bit of good. Justice isn't just about courtroom victories, it's about standing up for what's right, about not letting bullies, no matter how petty or powerful, decide the rules. It's about looking after each other, even if it means making some noise or facing down a queen bee with a vendetta and a can of pepper spray. So here's my advice. Don't let a Karen run your life. Stand your ground. Keep your door whatever color makes you happy. And maybe bake a little extra bread for the neighbors. You never know when you'll need the support. What do you think? Did justice win out, or is the system still too soft on the real bullies? Let me know. Share your stories, your takes on what makes a neighborhood worth fighting for, or what you'd do if a Karen came knocking at your door before dawn.